Finally, nanata sa atong pinakalas nga topic para sa third quarter, which is about the confidence level and the sample size. Dili na kaayo bago sa ato ang duha ka terms kay na-encounter na nato ni siya sa ato ang mga previous nga mga lessons. So when you say confidence level, this is the probability that the true population mean or the true population proportion is na contained in that certain interval. Meanwhile, when we say the sample size, it refers to the number of participants nga need na to kuhaan og data. And the sample size is the subset of the population. Okay, so in getting the sample size, kung mag-research ta or mag-conduct og survey and study, how large a sample should be? Unsa kaya kadaghanon ang ato ang kuhaan og data? Need ba ta og basihan ana? Okay, so it's very natural for you to ask these questions, no? Because even in identifying the number of samples para sa inyong study, you need to have a basis. Kaya nga naman, kung daghan na pod kaayo inyong kuhaon na sample because you believe that kung daghan kag sample, mas maayo pa siya og result, mas accurate ang mga result. But take note nga kung large po kaayo to ang sample, waste po siya sa ato ang mga resources. And kung mogamayan na po nato atong mga sample, like insufficient po nato ang sample, dili po kaayo nato makuha ang accurate gud na result. So we need to have a balance in ikuha nato sa sample size. Okay. So the first is in identifying the formula for the pagkuha nato sa sample size. Balikan lang nato ang formula sa ato ang margin of error in estimating the population mean. So we have here the formula of our margin of error when estimating the population mean. The first is z alpha over 2 times the quantity of, you have here the population standard deviation all over the square root of n, where n is ang sample size. So this is not yet the formula sa pagdetermine nato sa sample size, but diri magikan ang atong formula sa pagdetermine niya. So we will solve for n. So para mabuhat nato ni first, okay, we will multiply, we will cross multiply. So si square root of n, multiply siya kang e, which is our error. So the other side, mabili na lang si z alpha over 2 times the population standard deviation. Since we are solving for n, i-divide nato ni siya both sides by e. So both sides by e. So you have the result. Square root of n is equal to the product of z alpha over 2 and the sigma all over e. And since naka-square root man ang atong n, ato siyang e squared both sides para matanggal ang iyahang square root. Okay, so now we have the formula for n, which is given by this one. The square of the product of z alpha over 2 times the sigma all over e. So in determining the minimum sample size needed when estimating the population mean, we need to consider these two factors, our confidence and the narrowness. So I'm not saying the confidence nimo itself, but the confidence level. I-take note na siya. And its narrowness. Okay. So take note also that since our sigma is usually a known, diba? That's why we are using z. It can be estimated by the standard deviation as from a prior sample. So take note of prior sample. You will understand this one later on in our example. So we have the first example. In a certain village, Leonie wants to estimate the mean weight in kilograms of all 6-year-old children to be included in a feeding program. She wants to be 99% confident that the estimate of the mu is accurate within 600 kilograms. Suppose from a previous study, the standard deviation of the weights of the target population was 5/10 kilogram. What should be the sample size, or what should the sample size be? Okay, so we have to understand first the problem and take note of the given. So as I said in the previous slide, naa siya giingon nga kung wala daw siya standard deviation nga anon ang iyahang sigma or population standard deviation, we will use the data prior, or we will use S as our substitute, which is prior to the study. So nagbase ta sa ato ang standard deviation from the previous study, which is similar rapod sa buhaton nga study ni Leone. So let's take note of the given. So the given is alpha is 100ths or 0.01 100ths. You know already nganong na 1 ni siya because our confidence level is 99%. So we just subtracted 99 hundredths from 1. Next, knowing that our confidence level is 99%, as I explained in the previous video, na i-take note na to daan basta 99%, it follows that our Z alpha over 2 is 2.58 or 2 and 58 hundredths. And our error is 6 hundredths kilogram. Nganong na 6 man siya, unsay clue na to nga error siya. Di ba atong error mo na siya ang murag margin na to kung mo plus o minus ta dito sa atong mean. And it is because of the clue accurate within. So this word is the clue nga kani siyang si 0.06 kilogram mo ni siya ang ato ang margin of error or the error. We have our alpha, which is alpha. Anong alpha kong giingon? We have our sigma, which is 0.5 or 5/10. So it is sigma in here because it was stated in the problem nga population. So meaning this stands for the population nga standard deviation. So I think kompleto na itong given. So now let's solve for the n, which is our target sample size. Okay, so just simply substitute all the given values and just simplify. So we have here the result 462 and 25 hundredths. So we are going to round up that one. So we need, or si Leone di ay nagneed siya og 463 ka mga respondents. Okay, you might be wondering, nganong na 463 man na siya, ma'am? Nganong dili man siya 462? Okay, take note that when determining the sample size, always round up the resulting value to the next whole number. So, that's why. Okay. If you have any questions, okay, feel free to send a message to our respective group chat. Group chat ha, group chat. Dili mag-PM. Okay. Next, let's proceed to our second example, which is gihatag na nako ang given. A group of student researchers wants to replicate a study where the lowest observed value is 12.4 while the highest is 12.8. He wants to estimate the population. Anong he? Okay, never mind ha. They want to estimate the population mean up to within an error of 25 thousandths of its true value. So using 99% confidence level, find the sample size that they need. Okay, wanna eat it. So identify the given. We have here the interval. The alpha is the same. Again, and we have the error. So within an error, explicit kayo ang pagka-state, no? So identified na dahil na to ang error. And we have our Z alpha over 2, which is 2.58. Okay. In this case, wala siya gi-state ang iyahang standard deviation. So, kung wala gi-state ang standard deviation, pero na siya gihatag nga interval, which is kaning 12.4 taman sa 12.8, magamit nato ni siya pagkuha sa iyahang population nga standard deviation. So, by using the formula R over 4, CR, this is the range, no? CR over 4. So, subtract lang nato ang ato ang interval. So, the highest value minus the lowest value divided by 4. So, the result for this one is 0.4. So, divide by 4. So, we have 0.1. So, gamiton nato ni siya pag substitute kang sigma. Okay. So, now let's substitute the values to the formula. So our z alpha over 2 is, sub alpha over 2 is 2.58. Our sigma is 0.1 and our error is 25 thousandths. So by just simplifying, okay, we have 106.5 or approximately 107 students or 107 ka mga respondents ang need di ay nga surveyhon ni sa mga student researchers. Okay, so this formula is only applicable if you are going to estimate the population mean. What if lahi na parameter ang imuhang pangitaon dili si mean? What if you're going to look for the proportion? So there is a different formula pod para ana. So I guess makatagna na mo kung unsa na pod ang ato ang buhaton dinhi. We are going to modify the formula. So this formula, if you can recall, mo ni siya ang atong margin of error in estimating the population proportion, no, in our previous video. So ato ang gyapong isolve siya for n. Okay, so the first thing is gi-divide ang both sides by z alpha over 2. So ang nabilin diri na side muna ni si square root of pq over n. And after that, by applying the rules of equality in algebra, so para matanggal ang square root, we need to square both sides. Gi-square na to siya both sides para makuha yung square root. Okay, so solve for n. So i-cross multiply na lang dayon na sila. So you have n times e squared equals p times q times z alpha over 2 squared, and then divide both sides by e squared. Okay, i-divide na to ni siya both sides by e squared, divide both sides by e squared. So we obtain this formula, n is equal to p hat times q hat times the quantity of z alpha over 2 over e squared. Okay. So, mo siya atong gamiton kung ngita ta og sample size nga kinahanglanon inig mag-estimate og population proportion. So let us proceed to our example. Before that, there is a note. If some approximation of p hat is known, that value may be used in the formula. If wala approximation, so you will use the p hat automatically as 0.5 or the 50%, because when we multiply the p and q, which is equivalent to 0.25, makuha nila ang maximum nga maximum product, no, hindi ko multiply siya, maximum number of sample nga enough to determine the population proportion. So let us have an example. A mother wants to know with 95% confidence the proportion of households who like to use detergent X. A previous survey showed that 42% like to use detergent X. Mary likes to be accurate. But si Mary, within 2% of the true proportion. What sample size does Mary need? Okay, let's assume nga si Mary, ang mother, kasi Mother Mary dahil ni siya. Okay, 13 minutes na ang video. Unya, kapoy naman ibalik. So let's continue. So the given are the following. We have alpha 500. So we have, since it follows sa gihapon, no, hanap basig mawatan na pano asa gikan si 1.96. So base na siya sa ato 95%. 95%. Di na ako kabalong basa. 95% confidence. Okay, nahinira lagi. And our error is 2%, or ato lang siya i-decimal since atong isolve man siya. So because of this, accurate within 2%. Okay, and substitute na lang kadayon. Okay, so sorry. So we have si Mary nag-need siya og 2,340 respondents para lang maka-survey kung unsa ang gi-prefer, kung unsay opinion sa mga household about detergent X. Okay, 14 minutes and 35 seconds. I think I need to get fast. Okay, so same magyapon ni siya kaganina, di lang ako siya isa-isahon. Okay, so that's 350. So your last task is to answer the last summative test posted in our Google Classroom. I think I'm too fast for the last example. Paki-pause na lang. Okay, thank you so much. See you next quarter.